hello everyone, and welcome to the 32nd episode of the Social Z Franchise Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Calvin Smith, back in beautiful Destin, Florida. It's a rainy day here, but I'm coming off a month in the beautiful islands of Fiji, so I'm glad to be back in Florida and be stateside and be back in a normal time zone, I guess. Super excited to talk to a young, motivated entrepreneur and franchisee, Tucker. Tucker, how are you doing today?
Good, Calvin. Really cool to hear that your journey in entrepreneur land has led you to Fiji a little bit, and you got to wiggle your toes in some sand. I pray for the day to be sooner than later.
Oh, absolutely, Tucker. My wife actually owns a franchise as well. We took some time and went and attended a Tony Robbins seminar out there. It was their life and wealth mastery program, and
I
I could
signed up
not
for it
recommend it
after
enough.
a UPW, and
Yeah,
then I bailed. So
yeah,
it's cool that you guys got to follow through.
absolutely. If you get a chance to do it, absolutely take advantage. It'll change your business, but just it's life improving as well. So highly
No
recommend.
doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So to kick us off here, Tucker, if you don't mind, give us a quick intro of where you're located, your business, how many years you've been operating, anything that's relevant to our conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So we launched our first Crumble in Connecticut and the first Crumble franchise in Connecticut on December 16th was our official grand opening day, and first
Awesome.
franchise or business that I own that had a successful launch. I tried some digital marketing stuff online, some
Sure.
drop shipping, but I wouldn't consider that much of an organization, although it does, it is self-employment and entrepreneurial. But this is like the real deal. Finally, that I've come into for after those those trials and errors. It brought me back to the restaurant industry, which I've been in since I was 15. I'm about to be 30, and how I stepped into this sort of thing was it started really with dropping out of school, deciding to carve my own path and not take what I saw to be the more supported, safer route. I kind of wanted to, life gave me a lot of advantages, and I kind of wanted to do things without all the advantages, and also to make my own rules, decide my own schedule, and that sort of thing. So after a year of graphic design and a year of psychology, I decided to just learn from business owners. And part of that was to be a 1099 independent contractor selling solar panels for Vivint. That was out here in Connecticut. And I didn't realize that would lead me to cookies, but this guy Troy, who was running the state at the time, was my boss in the North Haven office for Vivint. Knocked under him, learned from him for 2 years. Met a lot of amazing people, and wasn't a killer at sales because I built a lot of good relationships um, and get people's interest going and answer their questions, educate them on the thing. But I was never the influential guy to close the deal and influence them to pull the trigger. So after 2 years, I was like, all set with this. It was doing guided meditations at this little hippie store this kid's mom that I went to high school with owned, and her business partner at that little hippie shop had mentioned that her boss at her day job, a massage franchise, Elements Massage out here, that she didn't want to run her business anymore, and she needed kind of a right hand, somebody who cared to learn the back end, the front end, top to bottom on the business, and give it the TLC that it needed so that she could just go and live her life. And luckily she didn't care that I didn't have any management experience or any ownership experience, and just off of my interview decided that I could be the manager of her Branford and Meriden location out here in Connecticut. And so I did that for 2 years. And meanwhile, I had still played basketball with my boss from the solar company, Troy. And when I decided to leave Elements, I was going to go to San Diego to be with my girlfriend. I had already given notice last February, right? And then 2 weeks later, because I had been playing basketball with him, sharing my story with the managing of the franchises with him, my boss Troy from Solar hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a couple crumbles in Connecticut and I need somebody to run them. I just want to be the money and I need a workhorse." And I was like, "Man, I'm going to California. Like, I want to get out of brick and mortar, but I'm kind of drooling the numbers you're talking and who I could become through the process of building these teams at this level and scaling that quick and going from maintaining a couple studios that were already built, already launched, already systematized, already flowing, going from maintaining that to going from the ground to 60, 80 employees per store in 3 to 6 stores is just like, it's who I could become through that process is crazy. So I ended up deciding to agree to be a partner with him out here with Crumble in Connecticut and say bye bye to the West Coast for the idea of getting out to the West Coast temporarily, and here we are. So little bit of a connecting the dots type of thing, but yeah, it started with dropping out of school, selling solar panels door to door, managing Elements Massage, and then a random phone call.
That's awesome, Tucker. So it sounds like it's a true story of using your relationships to kind of develop and grow your your career and your advance your to the next step. What do you think it was about your relationship with the guy who's now your business partner? Like, what do you think it was about you, and what do you think you accomplished or showed in those years at Vivint that gave him the confidence to say, hey, Tucker's the guy I want to build my business around?
Look, I got a lot of imperfections, man, and luckily he sees the strengths as more important. And what I would say, like, made this work out for us and made him choose me over the folks he was considering otherwise was like hunger, how much I care about people I work for and work with and serve, and the fact that I just cut through all the fluff and never really am shy to just not tell it like it is for my opinion's sake, but literally just cut through the fluff and be very direct and open and be quicker about things by just laying it all out on the table and having no worries and always trying to create a win-win instead of just play certain agendas or withhold information and
Sure.
that type of thing. So just openness, hunger, and care for people, man. That's really what's put me here.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to take a step back, Tucker, and kind of go before kind of this journey started. What was it that, made you go on the path and want to pursue entrepreneurship? You obviously had, a lot of opportunities where, whether it was for yourself or someone else, kind of being the person in charge and being a leader. Like, I mean, did you, when you were 12 years old, did you think, oh, I want to go start my own business one day? Or, kind of what was the path to get you to just thinking, hey, I want to be a business owner. I want to go down this career path.
Yeah, so um, I don't know how far back I could trace it. I could even trace it to like how it was passed on to me a little bit, I guess, too, because my father's self-employed and as a recruiter, career consultant, professional recruiter. They would call it headhunting in the old days. And my mother had started a salon in our basement that I watched her build from just a couple customers downstairs to being like the person in Connecticut that every um, makeup artist and hairdresser looks up to in Connecticut for over 30 years now. So um, and also like it was the biggest thing besides like having parents like that and them being open to my path was like freedom, right? I want my goal in life is to wake up every day and decide how I spend my time and who gets my attention and where my energy goes. And having a ceiling on income is not the way that will satisfy that for myself personally. So it's just a craving for freedom, whether that came from how I was brought up or just what I've learned throughout the years, looking at different folks, what I've been exposed to on how different people live their lives, who I grew up around, not only who raised me, but just watching Shark Tank and when I was, a real pivotal part was where I was in college doing graphic design. And then the year after that, I switched to psychology. I just got real disappointed with any path I had thought before. It felt like settling. It felt like not freedom. Um, and so I just kind of like, there was this website called Stumble Upon. It was basically like the Instagram feed before the Instagram feed. Like you'd click your interest and then you'd click stumble and a random YouTube video or a random person's page or website would pop up. And I just kind of went nuts on that with the interest that I wanted, and different videos of different business owners would show up, and just different ways to like how to create value in the world and be creative and build relationships and how to make money, honestly. So it was really a mix of like upbringing, wanting freedom, and the access to being able to be exposed to people who were carving their own path. When I was at a really like transitional time in my life where I was really disappointed with the paths I was seeing people around me go on, and not satisfied with the vision I had for myself, just wanting more.
Absolutely. You mentioned both your parents, having been entrepreneurs as well. What do they think about your journey and where you are now, and do they play a role in that?
Yeah, man, they do. They play a huge role. Like I said, I've been honestly born with like more like silly amount of advantages. Yeah, we've had a humble family's been super humble income, and we're not rich or not even close to it. I didn't grow up that way, but they're very much involved in the business. My mother is just like an awesome like coach on like relationships, whether it be business or personal, and how to like merge the two worlds and be more of a human than a robot in business.
Sure.
Um, and so she's done some interviews for us out here. She's put on an apron and frosted a bunch of cookies and helped guide some of the crew members, because we've got a lot of high school kids. Being a young like trendy TikTok brand that Crumble is, like that's kind of a bit of the role she's played, and still in a way she supports.
Awesome.
And my father, I call him a hiring consultant. So being a professional recruiter, he's helping me find a GM for this Milford location that I'm building across the street from this Panera here. And he's advised me on how to, craft different role descriptions and create role clarity even beyond that in the different tasks we put. So I just hired a girl who we're calling an operations specialist. She's basically like you'd normally call her an executive assistant, but she's more than that, because she's going to help with strategy for the business. And she just graduated from an entrepreneurial college. So my father's role in supporting Crumble and my path with this is, yeah, he's out here doing interviews. He's setting them up. He's writing job descriptions. He's networking to call GMs, networking to folks that wouldn't be GMs but might be a connecting point
Sure.
to somebody, because we're gonna do 6 stores. We just got approved a little bit ago to go beyond our original 3, and
Awesome.
so in order to scale that, I need some folks. And yep, mom and pops are still rolling with me. So
That's great. It's invaluable resources, Tucker. So
huge.
as you said, you should feel very blessed to have them in your corner like that, for
Mm,
sure.
yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
endlessly.
Yeah. You mentioned, going back to a little bit about your path to get there, Tucker. You mentioned, you were running the locations for the massage franchise, and kind of operating those. Those were existing, and you kind of came into a process there. Versus now, you're 9 months into a system and businesses that you're building yourself. What are the top 2 or 3 things that you've learned over the last 9 months that you were kind of surprised based on your past experience?
It's a great question. There's a ton of them. Um, it's been a ride, man. I went from not hiring or firing a single soul, because it was just maintaining a system that was already solid, to 60 employees from
Oh,
16 years old to 30, mid 30s.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Losing a general manager 2 days before Christmas, the week after grand opening week, and not knowing who the hell was going to fill the shoes and how the heck I could build another store if I didn't have one. So yeah, so what has been the biggest surprising lesson, the biggest biggest themed takeaway here? It sound like this sounds kind of like over repetitive as far as what you hear often. But it truly is like people are everything, man, and it's not like
Sure.
a new thing at all. But it's just like just how you treat people determines how invested they are in the mission with you, how invested they are with you personally, and with the other leaders you bring in. Um, and like I never thought cookies was going to be my thing, and a lot of these people probably didn't think cookies was going to be their thing either. Um, but it's just like art, like that beyond any system or any technique or any tactic or um, any desire, like um, just like making sure folks are aligned is the number one, and treated well, and like and what I mean by treated well is like dignified, is respected, is like that you look at not only what they can do for your business, but what is your business leading them to where they want to go. um, is it just somewhere they clock in and clock out, and or is this a place that like gives them things to bring wherever they want to be. The Yeah, that's the biggest lesson. It's something we've all heard and learned, and maybe we're not walking the walk as much as we wish we could, or as much as we should be. But it's just it's like this. It's top of the food chain as far as what's going to bring you success, is making sure the people that you bring into your mission are truly aligned, and you are you're rewarding them enough to stay attracted to your vision, and making sure that it is what I mean by aligned is that it serves them on a level that's not just superficial or not just paying the bills. Like there's got to be meaning there. And yeah, a lot of times jobs are just jobs, and you got to patch something over, things are a means to an end. Like cookies won't be my entire future, and cookies won't be all these kids' entire future, but is it leading you to your future? And like, what are you picking up along the way? So it's people, man. It's people. And
Absolutely.
and along with that, like there's people I interviewed that I thought we're just gonna like be like, oh yeah, just clock in, clock out, like throw some things together, not care if that Instagram worthy is supposed to be looking cookie came out looking like a dinosaur, took a swack at it, and or what, like just coming out looking all crazy. But that's a person I thought may have just been there for 2 weeks like that, and not caring about the product or the mission with the team. Like those are the people that are pushing them up across the whole store because somebody else called out at the end of the night and offering before I even asked to stay an extra 2 hours after close, and not whispering a hint of a complaint about it. So people will surprise you, and especially if you treat them right. So
Absolutely. It's some great valuable lessons, Tucker, to be 9 months into business, man. So congrats on that. Um, you you know you're 9 months in. You mentioned you have well over 60 employees now. You're on a path to open 6 locations. What does that do into your personal life? Obviously, there's always a balance of people talk about your friends, family, fun, fitness, all these the four F's, I guess. But what are you doing to balance that? You mentioned your girlfriend who you didn't move to California to be with. What's the building of this system doing to you personally, and how are you managing it all?
there's a lot of rawness in that, and there's a lot of roller coaster in it. It's as hellish as it is beautiful. Um, like you go from the brink of sanity um, to, like Elon Musk calls it, like starting a business is like staring into the abyss, chewing glass, like that.
Sure.
There's plenty of those moments. Um, and you question yourself a lot. Um, and as uncomfortable and as unsettling as that can be, it's ultimately emboldening and empowering. Um, like it just, again, this is something people hear a lot, but until you feel it in your bones, like you don't know how powerful it is. Um, it's just like you like so much, you're capable of so much more than you thought. Like coming into this, I don't like, am I allowed to swear on this podcast? Like
Sure,
how free
absolutely.
are we here?
Yeah,
All right. So like, for lack of a better phrase, like I kind of use this one. I was shitting my diaper like like daily,
sure.
coming into this thing. Like man, I never hired or fired anybody, and I'm about to have 60 employees across at least 3 locations at the time when I signed up, and I'm about to not move to California to be with the person I want to be with the rest of my life. And betting on myself that I can stomach this and make it a win-win for everybody, myself, my employees, and my family, my relationship. And so yeah, man, I was really really shitting myself. And so as far as my personal life goes, like the biggest thing is like bet on yourself. Like just yeah, you have to have certain like skills and desires to work into the challenge that are aligned. But again, I never thought I'd be doing cookies, but how this has made me a different man is just the willingness to bet on myself. And I have to give my partner a huge bit of credit, right? Because he believed in me before I did. Like if he didn't reach out to me and hear my experience level, me being candid and honest with him on where I was at and what I've been responsible for, and that it was a huge gap to bridge for me personally, what I've done to what this is. And if he didn't just bet on me there, like I don't know that I would have bet on myself at this level. So you kind of have to sometimes personally like set your own perception of your abilities aside, and just expand um, beyond what you think you could, focusing on where will it bring you, who will you become through it. So I've been talking kind of on a macro level, not so micro, not too specific. So like to give you some of like the gritty, besides just like setting aside doubts and perception of a lower capability than we think, just like knowing that we have far more potential than we ever admit or ever feel in our body. Like our body can tell us, like it's a beautiful mechanism for giving us signs and signals of what to do and what not to do, where feels safe and what feels risky. And as much as we should trust it and go with it, like we got to question it too, just like we question our own thoughts and all of the opinions of others. Like we can question our different feelings and comfort levels. That's huge as far as this personal journey and the inner journey as much as the external journey. But
That's some sounds like some UPW wisdom there, Tucker. So it's good.
gotcha. Yeah,
It's,
man.
it's
It's
good
all,
good
yeah.
wisdom. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
UPW definitely made a mark for sure.
Yeah.
And it's still in me. And um, yeah, these are the landing pads where all that stuff can start to be worked with, on a real practical level. It's hard, man. Like to be raw with you, like another big theme for personal growth and the journey of this over these 9 months with all these employees and the challenge that it is, the craziness that Crumble is sacrifice. Like a lot of people are trying to get to where they go without sacrifice, and God bless the folks that can. God bless the ones that can smooth out and make it without too many things kind of taking a dip for a while. But health sometimes gets sacrificed, um, like mental and physical. Um, time with family gets sacrificed hard, even when they are a part of the mission. Like sometimes you're treating mom and dad like like just a cog in the machine for a couple minutes, because that's your mind has so many things to move to that you're it's not this TLC at every moment. Um, and yeah, personal relationships, like to be frank with you, over the past 6 weeks and ending this week, like the relationship, like me deciding to stay here, definitely drove a wedge between myself and my girlfriend, who again saw myself being with forever, and maybe that'll still be the case. But I chose to be here on the mission instead of being present with her physically, and ultimately that was a sacrifice I made because we won't be together for who knows how long or if ever again. But again, just on it's on a family level, it's on a relationship level, it's on a health level sometimes. And I ultimately believe, like, in why sacrifice is worth it in the personal journey of business and whatever mission. It doesn't have to be business, it could be art. Like people's entrepreneurial journeys or transformations, like it doesn't always have to be like something similar to what we're doing. But either way, I kind of sidetracked myself there a little bit, but why sacrifice is worth it, right? Um, is sticking to like the vision, is like, and being very intentional from the outset. Um, am I willing to live with this, and this if I'm most like if what I'm giving those up for will lead me to this sort of place.
Sure. And what is that for you, Tucker? And, and thanks for being transparent on on the sacrifices and laying it out there. But what's the end goal? What's the vision for you that's keeping you motivated and keeping you pushing through this?
Yeah, for sure. So in a very macro, just on an idea level, it's like I said earlier, wake up every day, decide who gets my attention, who gets my energy. If it's myself, if it's my family, if it's my relationship, if it's my creative urges and impulses, or if it's a business, or if it's travel. Um, that's the goal in the simplest, most high level fashion. But on a more specific level, like I would love to, buy a bunch of tiny homes and stay in them when I want to stay in them, and rent them out on
Sure.
Airbnb
Yeah.
when I'm not staying in them. Or um, let's see, there's that's the thing that's kind of winning the race for the next move idea right
Yeah.
now. And have that be in a place um, where I can be wherever I want with whoever I want while that's running.
Yep.
Um, it could be, it could, like, I know NFTs are like this trendy thing, and I actually don't know shit about them. Like I kind of understand blockchain. I understand like the idea of a non-fungible token and its difference from just a digital piece of art,
Yep.
and how it plays a role in our digital future, and why they're valuable. Um, I do want to empower artists. I want to be one, get back to my more creative roots, and do it in a way that creates financial freedom. And I'm a big proponent of decentralization on a lot of
Sure.
different levels. Not that I'm uh, insanely educated in the political level, or super on the economic level. I'm more just like a regular dude trying to create freedom for myself and for others, control our time, be healthy, and be with the people we want. Yeah, NFTs would be a cool thing to learn about next,
Yeah.
maybe alongside Airbnbs. But yeah, and yeah, I want to live in different places. The only place I've been out of the country before is Bali. I would love to be able to run a business from my laptop out there. I spent 2 weeks out there a few years
Awesome. Yeah.
ago, and really felt like home to me.
Sure.
Um, so that's the vision, man.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. If you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, Tucker, he says NFTs are the next thing we've got to invest our time and energy in, right? So
I
we got
know.
gotta learn it.
He
Uh,
hasn't been wrong too many times.
no, no, there's something to it for sure, for sure. Last question for you, Tucker. What's the big personal goal for you for the rest of 22, and what's the big professional goal?
Personal goal for 2022. Honestly, man, it's simple. It's just to be healthy, like treat my body right, treat my mind right, um, and get my professional life to the point where I can run these businesses and in a way that makes my teams like fulfilled and happy in 50, 60 hours a week instead of 80 or 100 or plus. And just like treat myself right and nourish my relationships with my family. Get back into like some creative routine, get back to the gym. I'm really into this thing called like the flow state, which I'm sure a lot of folks in this space have heard of. The Flow Research Collective is a really cool organization that aggregates all the studies and creates a coaching model and a business model around it. So like the flow state is actually something you can measure with an fMRI scanner, and the different also, in addition to the electrical pattern, it's like measurable with the different chemicals that are going on when you're in the flow state as well. And we've all experienced it before. So on the personal side, I'd like to get more into my activities that produce the flow state, as much as business does the same thing, but that has to do with like athletics and art and all that. So just to be able to nourish that and be healthy and have time personally is my goal. Awesome. And then professionally, man, just launch these stores without losing much money and treating and just being super efficient, honoring my partnership really well, honoring the development that I've promised these leaders that are along for the ride with me, and empowering the bakers, the entry-level crew team, to just build skills, but to put that in a more of a tangible way, right? Get these 6 stores launched, hit all of our KPIs, get them all green check marks, no red X's, in the first 2 to 3 months, and have the labor percentage to revenue consistently at all stores below at 20% or below. Have all my leaders felt like they're paid and respected and rewarded enough. Nothing super specific, the KPIs and the different incentives and rewards are all awesome for the team and everything, but those are the themes there.
Great goals, Tucker. And we appreciate you sharing your time with us and telling your story and being transparent about the true journey. A lot of times we sugarcoat it and it's all sunshine and palm trees, but those of us that go through it know that most of the time that's not the case, right? So great to visit with you, Tucker. And the one piece of advice I'll leave you with is great to keep your eye on the end goal and to suffer through it a lot of times, but every once in a while you got to call time out and enjoy the journey and be thankful for where you're at, right? The thing
I've been hitting the driving range finally, and and getting 8 hours on some nights. Yep. and cooking a meal or two here instead of meal prep. So it's happening. I appreciate that. I always need that nudge to get back to the things that really nourish. So thank you. That means a lot.
The thing I always tell myself is, the me 5 years ago would be, really happy to be where I'm at now. And so you gotta take time to appreciate that, right? It's part of the process.
For sure.
But
a lot of times we forget where we're at somewhere we prayed for.
Exactly. Well, Tucker, thanks again for sharing your story, man. We hope to talk to you again next year and hear about your 6 locations and all the success that you're having. And for anyone that's taking the time to listen to Tucker share his journey with us today, thank you for listening, and we hope you join us on the next episode.